39 years after the fall of the Shah, Iran is once again entering a revolutionary state, this time the aim being to unseat the mullahs. The uprising that began in the last days of 2017 was a turning point. Today, there is no matter of discussion that the condition will never go back to what existed before. The people's slogans, the slogans which mentioned in previous speeches, these slogans speak not only to the regime. It's important that the international community take home the message as well. After this uprising, we have a good news. I have a good news. We believe that despite suppression and any ebbs and flows, the uprising will continue to overthrow this regime. Those analysts who imagine that perhaps this regime could persuade the people to go back to their home, they don't know what it means to be starving and destitute. The Iranian nation are tired of starving because of the mullahs' policies, and they are tired of the suppression that they have always faced. Today, the Iranian regime is in its weakest position of all time. Even inside the Revolutionary Guards and Basij militia, there are real fear that the regime will not last. I can say very briefly that there are 3 reasons why this uprising began and why this uprising will continue. First, there was internal turmoil, the seething anger of a nation who has nothing more to lose and can no longer tolerate the hardship and suppression. Second reason is the international factor, the fact that many speakers raised today, the fact that appeasement is no longer the prevalent policy as it was in previous administrations in US. It means that the regime can no longer bank on an external lifeline as it had during previous years. And third reason, the circumstances of the resistance are today incomparable, much different with 2009. Back then, 2009, the resistance was still unjustly blacklisted, and we had to put a vast amount of resources and energy to confront terrorists for delisting and campaigning for the protection of the PMI members, resistance members, and Camp Ashraf and Camp Liberty. Today, the situation has changed. The NCRI, the Iranian resistance, and PMI, recognized by friend and foe as the only major organized opposition group who have the potential to unseat the mullahs and in an organized manner. Today, we expect the international community to be on the side of Iranian people and resistance. The US administration should make up, as our friend said today, for years of US policy that had assisted the regime, and it must now use every available opportunity to put maximum pressure on the regime, Iranian regime, not least over its human rights abuses, support for terrorism. US should impose comprehensive sanctions against Iranian regime, especially to close the avenues that financing this regime. Those financial help to the regime which is directly diverted to terrorism and warmongering in the region. Let me reiterate the call of Mrs. Rajavi in Council of Europe in the end of January. Put pressure on Iranian regime to release detainees uprising, those people who have arrested during uprising, to guarantee freedom of expression and associations, and finally, to stop suppression and compulsory forced hijab against women. Let me sum up. This regime has no future, and appeasing it will only increase the price of freedom for the Iranian people. Appeasement will fuel more wars and crises in the region, but it cannot prevent the overthrow of the regime by the people of Iran, just as the support of the US and other Western countries up to the last months of the Shah's rule could not prevent his overthrow. The uprising will not go away. It will continue until the mullah's regime is overthrown. Thank you very much, our dear friends.